Oh, hey, this is Chemist Keeps Going. I'm Chemist, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple risotto using your Fast Slow Pro pressure cooker. So, if you want to learn how, stick with the video.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
To make our risotto today, this is what we're going to be using. It's the Sage Fast Slow Pro pressure cooker. And for those of you that are watching in different parts of the world, you'll probably know it as the Breville Fast Slow Pro pressure cooker. Now, Breville is an Australian brand founded in 1932 in Sydney, and they make a lot of different products, this just being one of them. Another one is actually the Smart Oven Air, and I did a video on that, so if you want to check it out, it's going to be up there somewhere. Now, the reason why Sage is not called Breville in the UK is because Breville already exists in the UK, and Breville technically is originally Breville Australia. I know it gets a bit confusing, but the rights to the name were sold within the UK back in the 80s to another company. So therefore, when Breville decided they wanted to launch their own brand again in the UK, they had to do it under a different name. So they came up with the name Sage, and to be a new brand and the type of products that they were launching, you know, it wasn't very easy because Breville in the UK, for those of you that may not be familiar, they're more of an entry-level type of product. So let's say you just move into a flat and you need something quickly, so you want to get a kettle, you want to get a toaster, you would pick up Breville because it's entry-level, it does what it says, and the price is quite good. But with Sage, they wanted to aim for the home cook, somebody who doesn't really use the entry-level products but isn't professional, but they still want to create, you know, restaurant quality dishes at home. So that's how Sage came about. And in order to launch a brand that doesn't have any history or any kind of feedback on it, you need to have somebody collaborating with you. So Sage collaborated with a chef called Heston Blumenthal. Now, some of you may or may not know who he is, but let me just tell you, he's an amazing chef. He has a restaurant in the UK called The Fat Duck. He has a few restaurants around. There's also in the Mandarin Oriental Dinner by Heston as well, which I really want to try out one day. Heston Blumenthal is a very well-established chef, and the fact that he's so well known definitely helped elevate the brand. Now Sage, they launched in 2013, but since then they've just been going from strength to strength, and the reason being is because they're a very good quality brand. The products that they make are good quality. Customer service, for me at least, has been great, which is why I own so many of their products. But also they design products that people actually will use. That's why I love it. That's why it's called Sage in the UK, but it's called Breville elsewhere. Now, I'll go into some of the specs on this and then we'll get into the recipe. So keep watching. Now that you know a little bit more about the Fast Slow Pro, it is possible to use other branded pressure cookers. Having being that there are two main types of pressure cooker, there's the stovetop and then there's the electric. Now obviously I have the electric, and to be quite frank, I prefer the electric. I find it's a lot easier for me, and you have a lot more control. There's a lot more you can do with an electric pressure cooker. Stovetop ones, they're OG basically. My grandmother had one. It was kind of scary because, you know, it would be like this big massive pot on the stove, and it would have like this thing on the top, and it would zzz, and it would whistle, and you just always worry that it's going to blow up. So with those type of pressure cookers, yeah, they're not for me. I prefer my good old electric ones. But the great thing about the electric pressure cookers is that they have a lot of functions and features. So the one that we're using today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing risotto. So we'll be using the risotto function. And the great thing about this one is it's so quick and so easy. You can make risotto from putting the ingredients in the pot to having it served on the table within about 20-25 minutes maximum. And that's including like your preparation time and everything. So it's very quick and easy. Now, let's see what we're going to be using for today's recipe. So now we're ready to start cooking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the pressure cooker first of all, because I want to get it to a nice temperature so that we can start searing off our bacon. And then we'll be rendering down the fat so we've got some nice flavors in there. So you're going to set it to the sear function, press the button, and it's just going to start preheating. This recipe, you want to make it quick and simple and as easy as possible. So go with what you've got. I have some shallots that I buy which are frozen. Because they're chopped quite finely, it means that they thaw out very quickly when you're cooking, so that's great. So I'm going to go in with my shallots first. Now some of you may be wondering, why do I put the bacon in first? Well, the reason I put the bacon in is because the fat from the bacon will add a lot of flavour to the risotto, so I do that before the rice. Now, if you don't like bacon or if you don't eat meat, you can use mushrooms, you can use, I use pumpkin sometimes, butternut squash, anything that you like really. The only thing is when you're doing it with vegetables or things like that, I would maybe season a little bit more generously, just because for me with the bacon, I've got the natural flavors from the bacon fat to go into the risotto. If you've got vegetables or things like that, you may want to add a little bit more seasoning to your liking. Now I'm going to go with the Aborio rice. Now, don't be concerned if you notice that the bottom of your pot or your pan is getting a little bit darker, because those little bits of darkness, they're actually flavor. So when I put the wine in, what will happen is that wine will help the flavor pieces actually dissolve and it will incorporate into the whole meal now. I've just got some simple white wine. It's Sauvignon Blanc, but you can use anything that you like. So I'm stirring that through because I want the wine to cook down. You don't really want a strong alcohol taste. You should just have a subtle hint of the wine in the background. So that's why I'm cooking it down now. You give it a few stirs, make sure that that's nice and evaporated. Then I'll add my stock. And then once I've done my stock, I'll just do some salt and pepper to season, and then that's it. I can set it and forget it. So I can smell it all coming together now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my stock first, and then I'm going to give it another quick stir. And now I'm going to go in with some salt and pepper. I'm not going to add too much salt because I've got the bacon in there, but you just want a little bit, just because you've got quite a bit of liquid in there, and pressure cooking, there's a lot of steam involved, so it may dilute the flavor ever so slightly. So now that's done, I've finished mixing everything together, so I'm going to set it onto the risotto function, and then once that's done, I'll just leave it and we'll come back in about 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to close the lid, but what will happen is you'll close it, you'll have to twist it and then you'll hear a slight ding sound, and that's when you know it's locked into place. Now the other thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you put the valve in the closed position. If you don't, then the pressure cooker will not come to pressure, so you won't be able to cook. And make sure that your gasket is sealed. So on the edge here, on the lid, you want to make sure that the rubber sealing is in place, because sometimes it doesn't align correctly, and if that happens, again, your pressure cooker won't come to pressure. So, you've heard the ding sound. What I'm going to do is pressure cook, and then I'm going to put it to risotto. And the risotto is for 7 minutes. It will take a few minutes to get to pressure, then it will cook for 7 minutes, and then it will release the steam. So I would say we'll give it about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we should be ready to put our prawns in, and then we'll add our Parmesan Reggiano before we get ready to serve it. Okay, so I'll see you in about 15. And now it's ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it, but you want to be very careful. Don't open it while you're looking down, because all the steam will rush out. So first of all, I'm going to add my prawns, because what I want to do is I want to make sure that the prawns cook in the residual heat. So now I'm just going to close the lid. You can hear some of that steam. So I've closed the lid because basically I want the heat to stay in there, because if the heat stays in there, it will cook those prawns a lot quicker. But I just want them to warm up a little bit. Then I've got some Parmesan Reggiano just to stir through, and then it's all ready to serve. And that was literally about 10 minutes. So this pressure cooker, I think it's amazing. The functions and the features on there, they're very practical, very handy. This risotto function, for me, I think it's great because I do use it quite a lot. Sometimes you just want something nice, but you don't want to spend like forever trying to cook it. So the risotto function is great for that, because it took me 10 minutes to cook it, and it takes you about 5 minutes to prepare everything. And there you have it. So I've done my prawn and bacon risotto in the Fast Slow Pro pressure cooker. Very quick, very easy, 10 to 15 minutes, and it's all done. So the most important thing that I need to do is taste it. It tastes great. So what I like about it is you have the flavors from the bacon running all the way through it, but then I have the stock, which was garlic and thyme, and I love those two flavors, and I feel like with the thyme it goes really nicely with this. It gives it a nice fresh herby flavor, and then you've got the Parmesan Reggiano, which who doesn't love cheese? So yeah, I think this all together just works really, really well, and it's quick and simple and easy. So the only thing that needs to go with this is one of these. So cheers, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this recipe, or you like the information that I gave you about the Fast Slow Pro pressure cooker, please do give this video a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe to my channel, and if you do, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get updated whenever I release a new video. So until the next time I see you guys, I'm going to enjoy this, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye. As I've mentioned before, I do use them all. What are you doing? Bloody cat. And then yeah, just that was the cat. What are you doing? He's messing about in the kitchen.